I hate making this video because I never wanted to talk about my finances with you guys. It's kind of personal, but I know that it is something you guys want to hear. So I'm going to dig into it really quickly without showing you my checkbook. What's up, guys? My name is Tom Scalisi, and I am a freelance content and copywriter. And I started this channel because I truly believe that freelance writing is the very best side hustle out there. And I think it's something that more people should try. So that's why this channel exists. And in this video today, we're going to talk about money. Okay, so the question is, how much can you make as a freelance writer? And how much is relative, right? And I don't want to use words like a lot or a little because it's relative. It could be insulting to some people. So I'm just going to try to give you numbers. And but I will say that you really can make a great living as a freelance writer. But I'll explain what you can kind of expect to make at whatever stage you are in your freelance writing career, as well as the stage that a lot of people cap out at, because there is a point where most freelancers cap out, and it's it's an equation of time and personal life and family and all these numbers, but it is a spot where most people find it really hard to make more money than, and I will explain that. First, let's talk about some do's and don'ts that I think are important for you to at least be aware of so you can make as much money as possible as a freelance writer. First, do somehow get paid based on word. You can either choose to get paid by the word, or you can choose to do word count ranges. I have a price that I charge up to 1,000 words. I have another price that I charge up to 1,500 words, and another price up to 2,000. And over 2,000, I give my clients a quote. And this allows me to work in a range, not have to worry about exact word counts or whether or not I've got to save a dollar or two here. None of that is worth it to me. So I just work in price ranges, and that works the best. And they're based on word count, and I think that's what you should do as well. Now, a don't. Don't work for an hourly rate unless you can get a massive hourly rate in the couple hundred range, which some writers do. I don't think it's worth it, because at that point you are not getting paid for your experience. You're getting paid for how long you work. And that sucks, because if you're a real expert in your field and you can write a 2,000 word article in an hour and a half, if it could be the best article in the world, but if you're getting paid hourly, you're only getting an hour and a half's worth of pay. Where reality is that because you're an expert, because you can write a phenomenal article, you should be paid very, very well for that. The next thing I'll say is you do want to establish your payment terms with your clients. Now, the reason I say this is because when you're new, a lot of the time you end up working for a media outlet. That media outlet will tell you what their payment terms are. And those can be really tough, because a lot of the time they're like 30-day net terms, which means that you put in an invoice and you're not getting paid for that invoice until the following month. That can be really tough. I like to make sure that my clients know right away what my payment terms are. And my payment terms are, I send an invoice, I expect to be paid within 7 days. That allows me to keep my cash flow up and manage my plan a little bit better. Whereas if I was just to leave that in the hands of my client, I could be net 30-day terms on a client and not getting paid, even though it's a huge part of my monthly income, and I'm not going to do that. So very early on, when you get started with your client, make sure they know what your payment terms are, and make sure that your payment terms work for you. All right, the other don't that I'm going to suggest is don't be afraid to charge your worth. I know a lot of writers out there that are afraid to charge for what they're worth because they feel like it's either too expensive for their client or there's not enough work for them out there at that rate. Here's what I'm going to tell you. You need to believe in abundance, because it really exists. And if you're good at what you do, there are clients with money out there that will pay you for it. So charge what you're worth. And then this is just kind of like a final note. Flat rate articles are okay. A lot of clients will want to pay you flat rate for an article, especially media outlets. They'll tell you like, whatever article they're going to assign to you is worth $140, and you're not going to get any more or less than that regardless of what the word count is. Now, here's the thing. I'm okay with flat rate articles, but you have to make sure you're not getting taken advantage of, because a lot of the time they'll tell you that it's $140 and it's a 2,000 word article, but it's bullshit, because every competitor article out there is at least 3,000 words, and when you're writing it, you'll realize how quickly it happens real fast. You'll get to that 2,000 word count really fast, and you'll say to yourself, well, every word after that, I'm cutting down how much I'm making the more I write. When that happens, here's my suggestion. Reach out to the client and tell them, hey, look, you said this was a 2,000 word article. I'm at 1,500 words. I still got half this article to write. Can we do some type of price adjustment on it? It's my experience that most clients aren't trying to screw you. And if you're getting there on your flat rate article, just reach out to them and tell them, and I guarantee you more often than not, they'll adjust the price. All right, so let's get into it. So let's talk about how much you can make. So new writers, it's been a long time since I was entry level. So I remember how much I made. I don't know what it looks like right now. So what I did is I scoured some job postings, and I went on Upwork and Fiverr to see what new writers are getting paid, or at least what I would consider entry-level writers getting paid. And it seems like the average pay for a newer entry-level writer is right around 5 cents per word. So for a 2,000 word article, you're looking at, I'm gonna do some quick math. You're $100. Looking at $100 for a 2,000 word article. Now, if you can write that article in 3 hours, you're looking at $33 an hour. If you can do it in 4 hours, you're looking at $25 an hour. But if it takes you 8 hours, you're looking at $12.50 an hour. And those, depending on what you make, those could be good numbers or not. But I actually have the annual rates calculated here for you, and I'm going to share them because I love math a little bit. I don't really love math, but I'm going to share this with you. So if you were to do it in 4 hours and you were getting that $33 an hour, that's roughly $68,740 a year. If you were extrapolating that over 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. If it was the 4 hour rate at $25, you're looking at $52,000 a year. And at $12.50, you're looking at roughly $26,000 a year. Now, here's the thing. I know that we're extrapolating that and we're assuming that we can get 40 hours worth of work over 52 weeks. But the truth is that for these entry-level articles, you really can get 40 hours worth of work pretty easily. You've got to apply to a lot of different spots, but it doesn't take long to fill up your funnel full of these entry-level paying clients. So those are real numbers. Like, you could very easily make $68,000 a year as a freelance writer. Once you have a few hundred articles under your belt, you can start to charge more and be like a mid-ranged paid writer. And a lot of the clients in this range are going to be like B2B companies or coaches, and they'll pay you better than these entry-level media companies, and you can make a little bit more money per hour. So how does this work? Typically, these writers get between 10 and 20 cents per word. And if you were to look at that 2,000 word article, that means we're looking at anywhere between $200 and $400. So if we're looking at that 10 cents per word article and where you make $200, if you can do it in 3 hours, you're like $66 an hour. If you do it in 4 hours, you're like $50 an hour. And then if you do it in 8, you are at, $25 an hour? Yeah, I think it's $25 an hour. Sorry, went blank. So now let's extrapolate that over that annual rate, because I love to extrapolate. Let's see what we got. If you were to do it for 10 cents a word and you ended up getting that $66 an hour average, you're looking at $137,000 a year. If you get it to that 4 hour mark, you're looking at $104,000 a year. And if it takes you 8 hours to write at $25 an hour, you're looking at $52,000 a year. Now, here's the thing, like I'm telling you, these aren't unrealistic numbers, especially not even the high end of this. These are numbers that with full-time work and enough effort and the right clients and the right niches, a lot of things have to line up, but you can absolutely make $137,000 a year writing full-time 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. As a part-timer, you've got to figure out where you're going to fall there, how much time you have to give, but you can make thousands and thousands of dollars as a mid-range paid writer just working for B2B businesses and business coaches. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. Landing these types of clients is a little harder because you've got to show them that you have a proven track record and that you understand SEO and that you can bring them some real value. And they're not going to hold your hands to the articles. You're going to be on your own. But these are numbers where you can really start to make a difference. All right, once you really establish yourself as an expert in your niche, there's some crazy things that happen. Number one, your articles kind of build some momentum for themselves, and they're basically doing your marketing for you. And now people are reading your articles and looking for you to write for them. People are knocking on your door and they're willing to pay you a lot of money. A lot of these companies are going to be business coaches again, B2B companies, even media outlets will start to pick up again because some of them pay a lot, and they're willing to pay you handsomely for your work. Let me see what I got here. So from my experience, writers in these ranges make 25 to 50 cents per word. That's, I told you I wouldn't say a lot, but that could be serious money for some folks. So if you had a 2,000 word article, the same 2,000 word article we've been talking about, you're looking at $500 to $1,000 for that article. And if we break down, I want to break it down by 3 hours, 4 hours, and 8 hours again. And I wrote it down because now the numbers are getting confusing. So if you did it in 3 hours, you're looking at $166 an hour. If you do it in 4 hours, you're looking at $125 an hour. And if you did it in 8 hours, you're looking at $67.50. And if we were to extrapolate that over the course of a year, you're looking at $345,000, $260,000, and $140,000 annually. Now, that's a lot of money. It sounds, I said I wouldn't say a lot, but that's serious money. And it's possible, and some writers make it, but there are also some truths here. And I want to be very honest about this truth, because a lot of people are out there just preaching nonsense that you're going to make millions of dollars a year as a freelance writer. But we have this kind of threshold that we all really struggle to get past. That threshold is between like $12,000 and $15,000 a month. And it's difficult to get past it. You have your personal life, you've got vacation, you've got, you get sick, you have, if you've got kids, I got 4 kids, all of which play travel sports, and I am never home. So, it does cut into the amount of time that I can spend sometimes. And that's part of the problem, is that you can't just count on doing 40 hours of work 52 weeks a year. So those are like the realistic numbers, like that $12,000 to $15,000 mark. And the reason why that's realistic is because, we're humans. We have things that go on. It's very hard to dedicate 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year to working when we have families and personal lives and emergencies and sicknesses and vacation and all these other reasons that we're not able to do 40 hours 52 times a year. So the way to break through that wall is to either start an agency where you hire people to write for you, or you can become a copywriter. And that's kind of a big shift, but copywriters get paid because they sell, and they get people to sign up for mailing lists or subscribe to services or buy products. So their services are worth a tremendous amount of money, much more than a content writer or blogger makes. So, those are like the ways to break through that $12,000 to $15,000 a month mark. If that sounds interesting to you and you want to learn more about becoming a copywriter, check out this video. Other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.